on the Ohio State Football Report. Billy Beebe with you, running down the analytics the last few days, and I really appreciate everybody who's tuned into the channel and watched since I took over as the host. But again, going through the numbers here, a lot of people watching, but only 18% are watching and subscribed to our videos. I don't like that 82% not subscribed. I hate that. So let's get that changed. Make sure you subscribe while you're watching, whether it be one video or 100 videos. Subscribe while you're watching. It's one easy click with that one. And while we're talking about subscribing to the channel, pumped for Saturday. We're going to have a watch party going live before the game. We're going to be doing play-by-play, looking at chats, reacting to the game during. And when you subscribe, you can also get notified if you click on that to let you know that we are live for our watch party. Ohio State and Texas 1 and 3. The excitement is there. We've talked about it so much on the channel, and we'd love to have you guys be a part of it this Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, the Buckeyes have another terrific receiver coming their way. Chris Henry Jr. was on ESPN this past Saturday, Mater Dei against St. Thomas Aquinas, two nationally ranked high schools. The Buckeyes' four-star recruit, the headliner of their 2026 recruiting class, showing up and showing out on Saturday. You're going to hear some Seinfeld quotes from me if you watch this show. So these stats are real, and they are spectacular. 4 catches, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. A highlight that included a behind-the-shoulder catch over a defender that was underthrown. Henry still took it, hit the end zone, and hit that OHIO to let everyone know where he's headed next season. Taking a look at Chris Henry, the recruit, and boy, is he the star, the main man of that 2026 recruiting class for Ohio State. Speaking of stars, he's got 5 of them, 21st overall in that 2026 group of recruits. Also 3rd-ranked wide receiver, 5th in California. And the Buckeyes really leaning on him right now to look good as that group, not rounding out how they hoped in the class of 2026, but they're definitely leaning on Henry to look good with it. And the energy from this performance Saturday, why it was such a big deal, why so many people were talking about it. We spent all of last week saying, Ohio State didn't get this guy, Ohio State didn't get this 5-star, this 5-star is going here. It was great to be reminded of a player that's coming next season and how good he is, and Ohio State already locked him down. Buckeye fans needed this. We needed to stop talking about who wasn't coming to Columbus and who was. And boy, did Chris Henry Jr. show up and show out to let you know when he gets here next season and is paired with Jeremiah Smith, it's going to be special. And what has really been special is this run of wide receivers. I mean, it has been absolutely insane what the Buckeyes have done, really from 2020, 2021 to now, to go Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, Chris Henry Jr., and I'm not even talking about those Carnell Tate moments, those Brandon Inniss moments. Chris Henry Jr. is about to continue a terrific tradition of Ohio State putting out quality first-round receivers because they performed so well in college and made the difference for the Buckeyes. This is an insane 5-year stretch. So the hype's real for Chris Henry Jr., and I want you guys to drop down, type CJ in the comments section to let me know you're excited for Chris Henry Jr. to get here next season. He is the headliner of that 2026 recruiting class. I can't wait for him to get here. And again, that Jeremiah Smith, Chris Henry Jr. combo, that's going to be can't miss, no doubt about it. Let's get bold, baby. I got bold predictions for the upcoming season. I gave you my score prediction for Texas and Ohio State. Again, 31-21 Buckeyes. A lot going on for that game in general, which we've talked about. But I got bold predictions for the season overall. Predictions for Ohio State. Bold's the key word. I'm going to start with All-Americans. Now, preseason-wise, and we saw it on the ESPN All-America first team list, Downs and Jeremiah Smith seems like gimmies, right? Everyone's talking about them. Jeremiah Smith specifically, you've got a Heisman campaign that people are looking at. So you figure Jeremiah Smith will be an All-American. I think if you get a little more production than you got last year, which you expect, he'll be an All-American. And he's been good enough to really deserve that. And I think Caleb Downs, who captain, leader of the defense, he's been special since he was a freshman. You expect him also to be an All-American. So that's 2. I think the Buckeyes are going to have 4, count them, 4 All-Americans on the first team by the end of this season. I think Ohio State really has a good set of guys that could get them to more, and we'll get into them in just a second. Before I do reveal the other 2 All-Americans, I believe, I want to let you guys know today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season is back, and so is Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money this football season. It's very easy to play Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your player lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. That's right. You can turn $10 into $20,000 with certain Prize Picks lineups. We made it to week 1. The Buckeyes in action. I'm really excited for that after week 0. And good chance to get all 3 big names involved with this deal here. Arch Manning, more than a touchdown pass and a half. Jeremiah Smith, more than 49.5 receiving yards. And Julian Sand with more than 1 interception. Look, this is a tough game. Julian Sand, there's bound to be a mistake or 2. So that's a good deal and an example of a 3-player lineup right there. You want to download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Link in the comments and description to get started. We appreciate Prize Picks sponsoring today's Ohio State football report. Who else could be an All-American for the Ohio State Buckeyes? Well, I once again point to the skills of Mr. Sonny Styles, the local kid from Pickerington. Look, this defense needs him. He's earned his Block O captainship, and I figure he's going to be all over the field, and it's going to be hard not to notice him, and the nation is going to notice him. You get Texas, you get Penn State, you get Michigan, and you get the college football playoff. Sonny Styles is going to show up and show out and end up being a first-team All-American, adding 3 for the Buckeyes. I think Sonny primed for a big year. Everybody's talking about it, but he's the type of guy that isn't just about the talk. He's about the walk. Adding another guy that we've talked plenty about, and look, it's going to be tough for Max Clear to be an All-American, but I think he can do it. Being a part of this offense gives you the opportunity to get open, be open, and make the most of getting the ball. He had 51 catches last year, 685 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was the best tight end in the Big Ten. Can he be an All-American with some other great options, especially in the SEC? I know there's a couple names in the SEC floating around. Look, while everybody else is, I don't want to say a decoy, but being a lot of attention being paid to the receivers and the running game for the Buckeyes, and you have a top quarterback coming out and trying to make plays for you, Claire should be able to eat in the meantime, should be able to make the most of it. And if you get Claire along with Styles and the other 2 guys who everyone figures to be All-American, that's 4 first-team All-Americans for my bold prediction there. But I want to see if you guys back me up on this one. How many All-Americans will Ohio State have? Drop down in the comment section. Leave a number for me. Let me know how many you guys think. Again, how many All-Americans will Ohio State have? Speaking of eating, I think Carnell Tate is going to lead the Ohio State Buckeyes in receptions. And you may think this is crazy. You may think, hey, this is Jeremiah Smith's world. This is his Heisman campaign. It's all about Jeremiah Smith. And I think it absolutely will be. But Carnell Tate should be able to come out of this with the most receptions on the Buckeyes, and I think he will. This Heisman campaign from Jeremiah Smith is only going to help this offense make them better, force other teams to pay too much attention to Jeremiah Smith. And a guy like Carnell Tate can make the most of it. Again, Smith, Heisman candidate, in my opinion. I don't want to say Heisman favorite yet, but I'm excited for that. Brandon Inniss is your 3rd receiver, and he's a team captain. But when you go to Carnell Tate, he can play the role that Emeka Egbuka played for Ohio State last season, and that is a 1,000-yard receiver that leads the team in reception and also has quality touchdown numbers. Bet many of you did not realize that Emeka Egbuka led the team in receptions last year. It was not Jeremiah Smith, who led in yards and touchdowns, and I will do that once again. But it was Egbuka who led in receptions and had over 1,000 yards, and I think Carnell Tate will be in the exact same position. Looking at the team aspect of Ohio State, I have them beating Texas. I have them beating Penn State. I have them beating Michigan. but I have the Buckeyes losing one game, and it is in this tough stretch for Ohio State. I think there's going to be an unexpected loss. Definitely would define it as an upset. Tough point in the season where Ohio State's getting their feet underneath them, but it's time to start grinding. They're going to go through some physical matchups. They're going to go on the road. They've got things to look forward to. And I want to give you guys a look at that stretch when you get to week 5 of the season for Ohio State. At Washington, home against Minnesota, at Illinois, at Wisconsin, and then the bye. We're gonna use the word trap game here in just a second. I think there's a loss in here for Ohio State. Washington is a different team on the road. You look at a couple of the other teams there, and I use the word upset. I don't know if you guys think they will suffer an upset in this stretch. You can type yes or type Y for yes, N for no if you think there'll be an upset in there for the Buckeyes. And I want to bring up that stretch one more time here, going through those games, because I think it is difficult to not only bounce on the road and come back home and look ahead to the bye week. It's the games you're playing in this stretch, going to Washington, that's far West Coast, coming home from Minnesota, then at Illinois and at Wisconsin are a gauntlet, especially thinking about, hey, we have our bye week coming up. It'd be great to have a week off. You already got beat up at Illinois. Now you've got to go to Wisconsin. I think that's a really, really tough stretch of games. And ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a loss in there. I think there's a trap game in there. I think the Buckeyes are going to have a problem going into that stretch of games. Again, whether it be the road, whether it be the bye week coming up, whether it be the physicality of those teams, whether it be the travel, there's a trap game in there, and it's going to be hard for Ohio State not to come out of that stretch with a loss.